So our next speaker is Mr. Sanjiv Mehta. He's the country manager for AMD, and he heads the enterprise business cloud alliances for AMD India. And his charter is to drive technology innovation and manage demand for AMD-powered products from the enterprise customers across industry segments, OEMs, partners, and alliances. So prior to joining AMD, Sanjiv has held leadership roles and managing teams of sales and technical professionals with large multinational corporations in different geographies across the world. So Sanjiv has a master's in economics and an MBA from Stanford. He's also a keen cricketer who's played Ranji Trophy, and he's an avid photographer. He's also an investor and mentor to startups. And Sanjiv is going to be talking about the cost of doing nothing. So please welcome on stage Mr. Sanjiv Mehta, country manager, AMD.
Thank you so much. I think it's I don't know how this should resonate, but cost of doing nothing. We always talk about cost of doing something, right? But we realize that some of our actions that we don't take end up costing us more. So hence my topic of saying, cost of doing nothing. And then it's also about the hidden cost of maintaining a status quo. Many of you here in this room have been contributing by challenging the status quo within the organization, within your team, within your family, and you've done that, what makes it right for all these people who are involved and engaged into driving the technology transformation. Right, so today, two things that we want to speak about. One, cost of doing nothing, how AMD plays a role into it, and second, about how do we together challenge the status quo, right? We spoke about data. Data is an absolute pure gold for all of you. And today, data is there's so much humongous amount of data. But what you require and what's expected from CIOs IT is a quick analysis of the data that you do. And what is it that you do with that data? So a real-time analysis of the data is very critical for your business. And today, CIOs are not just the enablers. They are actually enablers to revenue. They're enablers to bottom line, right? So your roles are extremely critical in terms of what you're driving for your organization. And I'm sure your CFO friends, right, would agree to it that what it used to be a few years back versus now the transformation that you have got, the revenue enablement that you have got for your organization, they see you as a contributor to revenue and not probably as a cost center, right? That's the shift that the IT can bring from data perspective. It's also bolstering the growth, right? You've seen that IT investments are growing. While we may always feel reserved, constrained in terms of saying, I could do better if I get more dollars to invest, right? I can provide more better ROI to my users within the company and my customers outside if I get better dollars. But that is happening. Maybe the change is happening in terms of what is it that shift that you're doing from technology perspective. What you were doing traditionally versus now what you do with the newer technology. For example, AI, right? What is it that you're going to do that part? So you're experimenting. And important for us, all of us here in IT industry, is to accept that change. Make sure that we leverage the technology available to enable our organization, our users, our customers, right? And while we say this, right, the vulnerabilities are continuous to evolve. We speak about something else comes up. Unfortunately, people who do this also 2 steps ahead in terms of whatever you do, they are a step ahead, right? So we always need to be conscious of the fact that we need to be always monitoring, adopting, and seeing things that can make sure that you reduce those vulnerability. It's not going to go away. Let's be honest to ourselves. Some or other thing is going to happen. You're not going to be able to protect yourself or your data 100%. That nirvana is not going to come in, right? So we need to continuously evolve. So the storm of innovation that is happening is also challenging. Very difficult for you to say, what is it that I do? Do I remain where I am today? Do I transform myself, my infrastructure, my data, my security, my skill sets, my people? What is it that I do which can help me transform that innovation and the disruption that technology is bringing today. It's not easy. It's very challenging for every individual here to take those steps, to take those bold steps of being a risk taker in terms of leveraging the technology that the world has to offer to you, right? So what if you could do some of these, right? And I'll come to some of these, the data part, the sustainability part, and security part in a bit. But this is something that every organization, every individuals are looking at, that how could I reduce these without much of disruption, right? And that's where we come in, right? AMD as an organization, we have grown. We have done technology disruption. We are one of the largest, only player in the world, which has got CPUs, GPUs, programmable chips, as well as DPUs. We are way ahead in terms of the technology innovation that we have done, in terms of the processor technology that we use. We are almost 3 years ahead than our competition, which we used to be about 3 years, 5 years behind. We're actually much, much ahead. So if you see, we have from a $4 billion company, we are now about a $26 billion company in less than 4 years' time. So in a way, we are a startup that's taken away 30% plus market share. That's the adoption. That's the testimony that our customers or partners are demonstrating by leveraging the technology that AMD provides to the customer and to the world. And the good part about it is that 6,500 odd engineers sitting here in India, in Bangalore and Hyderabad, are behind this design. That makes us as an Indian extremely proud that what is being designed in India, not made in India, but designed in India, is being leveraged by the world today. Right? So it's an extremely proud moment for us that this is happening very much for us in India. So what works is that performance, right? You have so much of data, you want performance to be enabled. So if you look at the generation of products that we have built up, and I'm not going to go into a lot of specs and frills, but we have delivered extreme performance which have given world records across different kind of workloads that you can think about, right? May it be on-prem, may it be on cloud. So performance is one of the biggest pillars that we are looking at, and we have done generationally an IPC lift of minimum of about 19%, right? Which probably is not been there for last 3-4 years. Now that you see, it's happening. We announced a product, our third generation in November. We announced a new product on 13th of June. We're scheduled for next generation happening in next year. So our roadmap and execution is absolutely phenomenal, right? And we also are wary of the fact that TCO matters to everyone. And what we have done to bring down the TCO is not just that we are cheaper. We got supply chain efficiency in our design, in our manufacturing processes. And that is what is helping to get that down. So there is no compromise on the performance, but at a lower TCO. As I said, 300 plus world records, right? And if you look at may it be on cloud, may it be on prime, we have seen people talking about the performance delivery that we do. There are some sites who have talked about world records or performance about 100 odd workloads where our processor perform better on 90% plus applications. And this is on the cloud, right? So today, if you look at, there's phenomenal story that we're doing. Some of the biggest cloud deployments in the country are based on AMD. How many of you have used DigiLocker here? Right? Almost everyone, right? It's hosted on AWS on AMD processors. Almost all of us, 1.2 billion people would have used CoWIN, right? At least twice, if not thrice. It's again on us, right? eDiksha, which is a portal for students, about 800 million students are likely to be using that. It's again on Oracle and powered by AMD processors. So some of the largest wins, this I'm talking about the public sector, which matters because that's the contribution that we are bringing to the country, right? And sustainability is a very, very important aspect. While to increase performance, there are power envelopes which are grown. Just to give you an example, to deliver a 60-core, using 450 watts, while for us a 96-core processor on a single socket, we deliver at 380 watts. So per socket, my power envelope is better by 70 TDP. I'll give you an example that happened with us in one of our customers in Germany, right? They changed the infrastructure. They really saved so much, and so nice of them to do that, that they powered and gave money to 20,000 houses in that cold winter in Germany. So you can imagine the saving that they got, with the TCO benefits that they got, they could power 20,000 houses in Germany. That's absolutely phenomenal. So for us, sustainability is a key area where we really look at. And I think all of us should be, because if we don't look at it from the data center perspective, it's going to hit our own pocket when the electricity bill starts going up, right? So we need to be wary of the fact that every TDP that you save is going to be very critical for all of us individually as well, as family as well, right? And as I said, the business vulnerability. So what we bring onto the table is a processor within our processor, not a software layer so that you need recoding. What we develop with a processor, we can do multiple things. We can secure at hypervisor level, and we can also secure at, okay, so let me go to this slide, right? So data is in 3 states. Data at rest, which you protect it by encrypting it. You protect data in transit with network securities. But what is not being taken care of is data in use. And that is where AMD is focusing. Right? So what we do is with our technology, with our processors, no extra money to be spent. You buy an 8-core or you buy a 96-core, you get the same feature sets, and you can actually encrypt the memory as well. So if somebody tries to ping it, we'll get the data, but it'll all be encrypted with the 128 keys that we give. Now that key also resides on the processor, not on the hard drive, which can be stolen. Right? So we've built up security as a DNA for ourselves, right? And the confidential computing, right? We talk about security, but if you look at confidential computing, Azure offers, Oracle offers, AWS offers, and who's missing? Google, right? So if you look at confidential computing, I would really encourage, many of you are on cloud, look at confidential computing powered by AMD. You will find that that's the technology these giants use to protect your data, right? Sustainability I spoke about. It's not that we are asking you to do it. As AMD, these are our goals. We focus on gas emission. We focus on reducing emission at production level, at the product level as well. And we are focused on that. So very important parameters for us. And when you really look at TCO, the number of footprints that you can reduce on your data center is tremendously advantageous, right? So I would really encourage that let's challenge the status quo together, right? And if not now, when? If not us, who? Right? So with that, just a quick, small, few-second video on what we are doing and how we can transform things together. Right? Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Thank you.